Hi everyone, my name is Russell Sinclair and I am presenting with Augustin Ole and Matthew Smith. We are here to talk to you about introducing Taco Bell to South Africa. Just to give you a little bit of history about Taco Bell and their franchise, their first store opened in Downey, California in 1962, and 5 years later, in 1967, they opened their 100th restaurant. Since then, they have been a very successful fast food chain in the United States and are seen as an American fast food staple. Even though they have been continuing success throughout the years, Ta- Taco Bell still shows that they are keeping up with new technology. In 2014, they introduced mobile ordering, and a year later, in 2015, they started having a delivery option. Now let's look at South African culture. The country is extremely diverse, especially since it had multiple different countries colonize the region throughout history. The settlers in the country originated from the Netherlands, England, India, Portugal, and France, bringing a wide variety of tastes and culture. There are also many native tribes who all have different traditions and foods. An example of the diversity in South Africa is that it has 11 national languages. Even though this is the case, the language spoken in the business world is English. South Africans also really enjoy their spicy food. One of the most popular fast food chains in the country is Nando's, which specializes in hot chicken. Moving on to South Africa's economy. It is the second largest on the continent of Africa. Even though its GDP is second largest, the wealth is more spread throughout the population than many other African countries. In contrast, Nigeria, who has the largest GDP in Africa, also has one of the highest rates of extreme poverty in the world. This means there isn't as much wealth spread throughout the population. The South African economy has seen its ups and downs, but in the last few years there has been a large amount of growth within the country. The political world of South Africa has been increasingly unstable, but it's still one of the most stable governments on the continent. Unfortunately, there is a high level of corruption, but this should not be an issue for restaurant entrepreneurs. It's the same as doing business in most third world countries, because South Africa could be considered a third world country, but has first world capabilities because of things like infrastructure. South Africa is a former world power and at one point actually had an economy stronger than the United States. Now let's look at how feasible it is to introduce Taco Bell to South Africa. The people of South Africa really enjoy their spicy food. There is also a very large population that can afford fast food. They also have a strong economy where growing a new business venture would be most feasible. There is also a lot of tourism from the United States and Europe, and Taco Bell would benefit from these individuals wanting to eat something familiar to them. So I would say it is feasible for Taco Bell to be introduced to South Africa.
Okay, so here, why would we sell Taco Bell in South Africa? Well, first of all, South Africans really enjoy fast food restaurant. South Africa's fast food franchise landscape had a great 12 months with almost 230 new franchise chains among the biggest brands opening in 2018 compared to last year. We counted over 4,000 stores in the country, so it's actually really big. Um, KFC and Nando's are the two biggest fast food companies there. Their menu is based on chicken products, so we know that our cheese chicken quesadilla is gonna be like one of our biggest products, probably. And also we have an amazing Chipotle chicken loaded Gruyere that could be one of our biggest product there. 21% of the chicken in South Africa are processed for fast food restaurants, so that tells us that we have to have our menu based on chicken products because looks like that's working pretty well there. Um, Next, how should Taco Bell operate in South Africa? Uh, well, I think we need to change, as I said earlier, our menus here in the US. Our tacos are really based on beef. That's pretty much everything we sell is tacos with beef in it. So I would say if we change our menu a little bit, we have a good advantage because we know taco, like everyone like tacos. To have a good promotion, we will use social media because nowadays everyone uses social medias and it's really easy. Doesn't take anything from people. They just see an ad on social media and they're like, oh, maybe I want to get Taco Bell tomorrow or today. And also we have some coupons on our website. Our target market is pretty much everyone. Um, Maybe young people more than older people, just because most often young people like um, fast food more. And our locations are gonna be in the biggest cities because 90% of South African residents live within 3 miles of at least one fast food outlet in the biggest cities. So we need to have a good location, and this is going to be really important. And finally, who should manage South African's franchises? We want to send young but experienced managers because we know that young people are ready to travel a lot. The contract that we're going to give to the managers is going to be a 5-year contract, so it's not going to be like forever. We just want to send our people there so they can get more experience. Being in a new country is the best way to learn about international business. Uh, no one of our problem is going to be the culture shock, and how to deal with that is going to like our managers are going to have to be able to get used to the country. The only way we can help them is by making them have like a nice apartment or help them as much as we can. The knowledge um, to have a good knowledge, our managers are going to need to be informed about the South African market and have to be familiar with our company. So they will be working for us or for the past few years. Trainings programs for managers being sent to South Africa. So as I said, they will have to know a lot about South African market. And finally, 10% English. 10% of the people have English as their first language, but the whole country talks English. So there is no need of speaking African or any other languages because pretty much everyone is going to speak English.
The mode of entry we selected is joint venture. A joint venture is a business arrangement in which two or more parties agree to pool their resources for the purpose of accomplishing a specific task. The advantages of joint ventures include shared risks and expenses and gaining expertise in the local market. The disadvantages include lack of freedom in decision making and possible compromise in traditional competitive advantage. This will help Taco Bell establish itself or further expand within this market and will be less costly than going solo. The city we selected is Cape Town in South Africa. This is a coastal city, large tourist attraction, and economically thriving. With such a large population, there will be a rapid exposure to individuals unfamiliar with Taco Bell. It will be easy to transport goods via air or sea, and with a large population, there's large diversity, which will give Taco Bell the ability to gauge which market is most interested in their food for expansion purposes in South Africa. And does it all make sense? Taco Bell is a niche food with a spin on Mexican and American cuisines that South Africans aren't quite familiar with. Large volume of individuals in the area will help gain exposure and give us a return on the investment. Taco Bell can also expand nationally, partnering with team sports in the country. For example, in the U.S., for baseball, steal a base, steal a taco. Labor costs are also extremely low for an economically emerging country. So the risk is quite low for the mode of entry, and partnering with a company that is familiar in South Africa will help Taco Bell thrive in their society. Thank you.